Pick a Struggle TV, the story behind the struggle. Today I have the pleasure of being here with Diane Turner, and I'm so excited to introduce you all to Diane. She has an amazing journey of overcoming struggles in her life. Diane, thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I am just thrilled that you are ready to share your story with our viewers. I think you have an amazing story. So why don't you start by telling us kind of where it all started and what you've gone through since you were a little kid.
Oh, I have two other siblings besides myself, a sister and a brother. I'm the oldest,
Okay.
wouldn't you know? And we had a pretty wonderful family. Mom and dad. Mom was a teacher and dad was a factory worker. And back then, you know, back in the 60s, it was really, if you worked in the factory, it was really good money. And so we had a wonderful childhood. I had a wonderful childhood. During that process, I was noticing some things within myself that I was attracted to the same sex. And
how old were you when you kind of started to realize that? Do you remember?
I was in junior high school.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in junior high school. Some family members seen it in me when I was 2, 3, 4 years old. But at that time, my mom said it was not that, it wasn't normal, but it wasn't nothing to worry about when a little boy wants to play with the sister's dolls and, you know, the Batman suit. I really didn't like the Batman suit and the football because Dad had me and all that because I was in football. So I noticed at a very young age that I was attracted to the same sex. But in my family, I had a very strict Catholic family. And so it was kind of, that's a no-no, you know. So I fought it. I got a job. My first job was at 13 years old, and I had a paper route. And so I got a paper route, and it wasn't quite enough money to go through therapy because I was in junior high looking for therapy.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, it was something. So when I got into 9th grade, went through high school, I got my telemarketing position. I started doing telemarketing for the Police Athletic League here in Southfield.
Okay.
And so I began to do that, and that was a little more money. If you say $7.50 was more money at that time, it was.
Right.
So I had started seeing a therapist. And he worked with me. He was wonderful, Dr. Iwata. And he started working with me. And in his findings, he said, you know, I think this is just in you. I think you're fighting a losing battle, somewhat is what he said. And I guess it was. And then...
were your parents supportive at this point?
Parents didn't know at this time. I still had girlfriends, but they were just that for me, you know. But... they were girlfriends. We would go, but no sexual, you know, we would kiss and all of that kind of stuff. And I didn't feel awkward. I didn't feel weird or anything. It's just that's not what I wanted, I don't think, at that time. I did feel feelings for one girl. And we were in junior high and going into high school together. And, but when I seen the guys, it just overcame that feeling. So, so I fought it. So then I began to just stop fighting it. In the 11th grade, I'm going to scoot up to 11th grade, I began to be in drama, and I just was in everything. I was in choir, I was in drama. It was just, I was trying to keep active. You know, I ran cross country. So I was just a little active kid. Mother and grandmother were very supportive. One of my best friends in high school, we wound up going to college together. Madonna College is where I went. And we became best friends, and she knew what I wanted to do as far as impersonating.
Okay.
So that was just a thing in the back of my head during 11th and 12th grade. And I had a play cousin at the time. And he said, you know, you're always singing in the mirror, only when Mom and them weren't there, these Natalie Cole songs. You need to go and do this show that I know of. And I didn't know what he was talking about. I was very, you know, being raised very sheltered. I didn't know what he was talking about. I didn't know these clubs existed I didn't know. And of course, computers weren't really popular.
Right.
So
Yes.
a lot of things we didn't know then that the kids have now,
Yes.
you know. So I was still really closet. I was in the closet, not upset or not, what would you say? I wasn't like most kids, they get depressed and all that. My life was a joy, so I wasn't that, you know. Then I went away to college. Well, this is the time that I got away from home, and then I was able to come out.
Okay.
My mom didn't want to find out the way she found out. The girl that I was telling you was my best friend, we wound up having a kid together.
Oh, you did?
So I have a daughter, which is 28 now.
Okay.
And we were really close. I began to, everything, I just defied in her and everything, you know, and it was a real good time. We knew that was just a one time or a couple times. I think it was a couple times. It's been so long. It was a couple times. I didn't believe it at first. And then we had we said, well, let's just get a test. I know it is. And we did. And it was.
Peace of mind.
Yeah. And so I started dating guys. Okay. I was a late bloomer, I guess, because I was now 20.
Okay.
And I started dating guys when I got to college. And her feelings, I guess, overcame her, and she talked to my mom and my grandmother, and she told them. And they had a fit. They wanted to come where I was at, and I didn't let them know where I was at. I talked to them on the phone every day, but I was going through a transition point that I didn't want them to see me until I got to that point. Because sometimes we are, even today, transsexuals are very stigmatized, I think that's the word. You know, we're looked at upon as certain things that, like, kind of, I think the bottom of the bottom. A lot of people don't look at transsexuals as decent people, right, you know, and can live decent lives.
You started transitioning then when you went to college?
Yes. I met someone, I did that show, and I met someone that turned me on. They said, oh my God, you look just like a girl. Because they didn't know. I said, really? And I didn't think so, but guys used to say, whistle at me and all that stuff. And that kind of helped me want to go over, because that was the depressing part. You know, I always had long hair and, you know, frame, little slim built and all that stuff. And they would whistle and, you know, and at that time I just didn't know how to accept it.
Right.
So, the transitioning went on. I met someone who turned me on to street drugs, hormone drugs.
Okay.
And I was taking those, and it was before my eyes. I had these. It was they started, you know, growing, and I've had no other type of silicone or anything in my breasts. It was all hormones.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you didn't go through a medical per se. You were doing street drugs.
At that time. Okay. At that time, it was just all street, buying it from people, taking a really big risk and a really good chance, because, you know, some people were getting it and then they would run out, but the money was good to them and they were selling you vitamin E or other stuff that wasn't. But I was blessed. Yeah. Wow. So then after that, I began to alter my body. I've had... and I think you're the only person that I've ever told the real truth to. I've had one silicone hit in my chin, and then I had one, what would you call it? One treatment in my face.
Okay.
Because I had a really slim face. So I had one treatment. And the guy that did it, he said, you're wonderful. He said, I have to make you look like a star. And he said, you know, I'm going to do you right. You deserve it, and don't get any more. And I didn't. I never, you know, I didn't want to look overdone.
Right.
And then later on, another good friend of mine was doing the kind of hormonal silicone work, and then I had it in my hips and my buttocks.
Okay.
Yep. Again, it was it was street, you know. Okay. It was nothing. Wow. Yeah. And just been blessed. Girl. Oh my God, because now there are so many things that people yeah. So it was some real females here in Michigan that had some very, very bad experience with that.
Oh.
So God is good. He's been good
Wow.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how did your family take it then? Your mom and grandma find out from
Yes.
their girlfriend?
My grandmother, I went to her. It was, I had to go to her because she was my rock.
Okay.
In the 10th grade, I left this out. In the 10th grade, I went to stay with my grandmother. Me and my mom, after her and my dad separated, we lived with my grandmother.
Okay.
So, I wanted to stay with her because of the school. My mom moved. I didn't want to go to the school, so my grandmother was living in a place that I could go to the school that I wanted to go to.
Okay.
And so I did that, and I went to my grandmother. At this time, she was in a senior citizen's place.
Okay.
Still right mind, still doing well. And something came to me and said, you got to do this. You got to go. I didn't know what to expect.
Good old Catholic woman.
Exactly. She embraced me. It was the most emotional time of my life because I thought I was going to be like many others where my family wouldn't accept me. And at this point, if she did, I didn't care who else did, so it was really good. And and she just looked at me and said, "This is so weird. I never thought I would say, you look like your mom." So yeah. So it was good. It was good. So we became very close again because we were always close. And I think she was waiting for that because she passed not too long after that.
Yeah.
So that was I was glad I went through that point.
Yes.
And then my mom, she took me, really close, because again, the tables turned and I had to wind up being her mom, basically. She retired from school, and it seems like the year she retired from school, she started having health issues. It wound up being small cell lung cancer. Yeah, 8 years ago, and she came to my show at Stilettos at the time. Very first show she ever went to. I had been performing for over maybe 15 years at that time, and she never seen a show until she came to Stilettos. And she came with her two sisters, my two aunts. And so it was the best. It was the best thing. They enjoyed themselves. And she was ecstatic, And so I think that has kept me strong with the acceptance of my family. And,
people don't get that.
No. And I think that's what keeps me strong. It's great.
Dad,
we lost Dad last October. He had heart failure. Most dads, their son.
All right.
I was Daddy's little girl.
Aww.
And he accepted it, and he said he knew though. So he was the one, Mom didn't believe it, blah, blah, blah. Are you crazy? So Dad was remarkable. He was.
So you have lived as Diane.
I have lived
How long?
1992, and then legally, my name was changed in 1997.
Okay, that was going to be...
Yes.
So you're legally Diane.
Yes.
And did you do a gender change as well?
Nope. Nope. Okay. Just I'm what they call a pre-op transsexual.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I have just been living. I've never had an issue or any problem with the transition or anything.
So will you ever go through the rest of that process of...
I promised my mom that I would never take away anything. Okay. I would alter, but I never take away. Okay. It's been times where I wanted to, because I wanted to be complete.
Sure.
But it's a challenge. I love it. It's crazy because the world has changed and shifted so much. It's almost a commodity being the way I am. We won't go into that, but and so it's interesting. And I hear a lot of people on national TV, people like myself, and I don't think they go into the real deal. Not saying they're lying, but they, I like to go into the real deal, of what my life is about and all of that. So I'm pretty happy in this body. you know.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
I would just silly. Like, so your license says Diane.
Yes, it does.
And it says male. That's got to be a kick for.
Well, you should see. You should. It
Not that
does.
you've ever run this over.
Yes.
So what about your daughter? Where is she today? And do you have a good relationship? And how's all that?
Her mom and I decided to wait till she was about 15 years old, and as we thought at that time she could understand better. So I was Aunt Natalie. We do keep in contact, and it is important, I think, no matter what kind of relationship, what kind of father, transgender, lesbian, whatever,
Sure.
that relationship, that bond is important. I don't know if it would be appropriate to say I'm a grandmother or a grandfather, but I do have a grandbaby. Yes.
What's
So
your grandbaby?
he is 11.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
And
that's
does
interesting.
he know?
No,
What does he know?
nope. He just knows that he calls me auntie.
Will you tell him someday?
Oh, most definitely. You know, I think it's important to share that with him. So yeah, we'll like we did her. You know, so yeah. I think my and I'm still connected with the mother.
Okay.
She was a real good friend. But I think she thought that me going through this was a phase. So she was in hopes that I would be her sweetheart.
Right.
And it wasn't a phase.
But you have a civil
Oh, yeah.
relationship.
Yeah, we
so
do.
When
We
your
do.
daughter, gets married or the grandbaby graduates or, all those things. you can
Yes. So it'd be
participate.
fine. Yeah.
And
because-
that's important.
Oh, yeah. It is. It is. So,
Wonderful. And your
yeah.
brother and sister?
Yeah, my sister and I are very close. I became really, really close lately because when Mom got sick, we had to. My brother is not so close with us. Yes.
And so now Diane is living a great life as Diane Turner.
It is. It is. Like anyone, you have your struggles, you have life struggles, but it is absolutely intriguing to say the least. It gets a little rough. Even mentally, it still gets rough. I'm very comfortable with myself, but it gets rough. When I first began this, you had to have at least one pair of male clothing on. If the police pulled you over and you didn't have something that was male, they'll take you to jail or give you a ticket. So a lot has changed from when I first began this transition.
So have you had issues, we hear about a lot of transgender, the bullying, the hate, the trouble.
Yeah.
Have you had to deal with that?
Thank God. He's been right in my corner. I have never, even with relationships, I've had 4 personal relationships, 4 loves, very long lasting. Well, back then it was long. My first one was 2 years. The next one was 4 years. The one after that was 2 years, and then my last one was 14 years. And we still communicate, and so I've never had the bullying. I've never been assaulted, none of that. So that's been a blessing. Unfortunately, in Detroit right now, we've lost 3 transsexuals to death, very horrible deaths, just in the last 2 months. And it is really bad. Unfortunately, these ladies, we lost them due to them having to make a way of life as prostitutes. And this is what happens when families don't accept their family, because they don't know what to do, and that's what they turn to survive. And but I've been blessed that I never had to do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to viewers that might be struggling with who they are and maybe what course they want to take?
I think I would say that you have to know within yourself what you want out of life. And then if you know and you're confident and you're determined, other people will perceive you and accept you for you. Keep a positive surrounding, because that's very important. Positive surrounding is very important, because a lot of times we can get caught in some negative people, and then you just don't, it would just put you in a place where you don't want to be. It's not easy. This lifestyle is not easy. I would tell you, because what I say, heterosexual life isn't easy right now. So therefore, you have to be more in tune of what you're doing and who you are within yourself. So I would just, first of all, I would like my viewers, to the family of transsexuals or LGBT period community, please accept them. A lot of people, you don't have to indulge in their lifestyle or like their lifestyle, but embrace them with the love as your family, because foremost, they are your family. There's so many suicides due to this, and I am a mentor to a lot of kids, you know, and I try to keep them. If you can't go home and talk to them, or if you need a place to lay your head at night, don't eat all my food and don't drink all my drink, you're good. But I'm there for you, you know, and I just wish more families were, you know, because there's a lot, believe it or not, there's a lot of families that are not.
And I think what you said is true. You don't have to like it. You don't have to indulge in it. Try to do what you can to understand it. A lot of it is fear-driven. And it doesn't mean that you're bad, or you just make different decisions than you make. So that's great advice. It's great advice.
So it's a struggle though. It's a struggle, and we're growing. You know, Americans are growing. It seems like it's little baby steps, which it is, but it's growing. Look at prejudices. That's still like it was yesterday, you know. So
well, like you're talking about, look from when you started this journey to today. And the information you could get versus the information our kids today can get. You know, so we're growing.
All you got to do now is go on the computer and find out all this stuff.
I know.
So yeah.
So why do you think it's important to tell your story?
I think it's important for myself. I've been wanting to do this a long time. I have. Being with certain men in my life, they were straight. So we lived just a straight, normal couple to their families. So I didn't want to put too much, no. So I didn't want to put too much of his business out there. And it wasn't that he told me that, you know, he said, this is my life. I have to live my life, you know, we're who we are. But I just felt more comfortable. You know, I didn't want any of his family to disown him, or, you know, to go just because of me. You know, if they do that, let it be because of him, not because of me. So I think it is very important for me to tell this for myself and for others going through what I've been through, and make it get a lesson. Don't be afraid. Don't hide behind the shadow. Just make sure that you be the person that you are. And if you're confident in yourself, you can be who you are. And if you're taking care of yourself, who cares? You know what I mean? So I think it's very important that people hear this. People hear this story.
Yes, and you might give one person the hope, the inspiration that they need.
Most definitely.
And this is my first time meeting Diane, and
I know.
So happy to meet you. But I know this woman named Natalie Cole.
Yes.
I met Natalie about a year ago, give or take, and fell in love with Natalie the day I met her. And she's just one of my favorite people. And this is Natalie. So
I guess you say, oh, goodness gracious.
How'd you get to Natalie?
Well, I'll get to that. I guess it's a thing. I'm living two lives, huh?
Well, and that's what I say. Do you kind of live two lives?
Well, real celebrities. Not saying that I'm not a real celebrity, but celebrities live, you know, two lives, you know, because Natalie's name isn't Natalie Cole. The entertainer's name's not Natalie Cole, but it's a thing that, I was talking earlier in our interview that my cousin came to me and said, you got to do this show. You got to do this show. I said, what is a show? You know, I'm used to performing on stage. I was in the Wiz, you know, back in high school. And so that was, you know, what I was used to, drama. And so I went with him. I had to sneak out of school. And if anyone knows parochial school, Catholic schools, oh my God. So Sister Agnes caught me after I came back. But we snuck out of school through the kitchen and went down to this downtown club called the Famous Door in Detroit, downtown Detroit. So I went and I peeped out what they were doing there, it was all foreign for me. It was just all like, whoa. I see all these women, and I thought they were really real women at the time, and they weren't. And at that time, I was like, yikes. This is, being conservative, back then. Oh, this is different. So he talked me into they had a contest, Miss Famous Door. Okay. So my friend that's my baby's mom and her girlfriend, they were my Colettes, because I was so into Natalie Cole. I met her and all that kind of stuff. So she had her backup singers were called the Colettes. So these were my Colettes. They had outfits to match, and we went in and we just did a simple number by Natalie Cole, and the place went crazy. I guess I just had it in me on my stage presence, and I won the contest. And I'm like, now what do I do? So I was Miss Famous Door 1982.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
and you've been winning awards ever since.
Oh my God, I have over 50 titles and one national.
One, didn't you?
I won a national title, Miss Gay USA Unlimited. So that was one in North Carolina, Hickory, North Carolina. So that's how Natalie Cole. I didn't want the name Natalie Cole because my namesake, that was her name. I didn't want to, and then, I didn't want any legal issues or anything like that. So I talked with her. Well, let me go back. My cousin said, well, you need to just be Natalie Cole. I said, no, I wanted to be Tasha Cole. I liked the name Tasha because there was an entertainer that I met here in Detroit named Natasha Lynn, and I loved her. She was an inspiration. So Tasha Cole was going to be my name. And then come to find out, I used it one time and found out there was a big entertainer named Tasha Cole. So I couldn't use that. So I wound up just keeping Natalie Cole because when I went through the thing of spelling it differently and all that stuff, and I just said, forget it. I met her later on. We talked about it, and she said, girl, do your thing. She said, you're making me proud. She said, just make me proud. And we had a really good heart-to-heart conversation and stuff. So that was interesting.
Very cool.
Yeah. So.
And were you dressed as her at that point?
Yes. The first time I met her, I was not.
Okay.
I went backstage with one of my girlfriends from high school that knew her. Okay. And you guys would not believe this. At the Masonic Temple, it's a place here in Detroit, the orchestra pit. She knew how to get under the orchestra pit because there's a door or something that we were, all I know, we were bent over like this going through on the stage, and then here she comes backstage, and I'm like, oh my God, there she is. And we went, and the security said, wait a minute, hold it. And Natalie said, nope, they're okay. And we went in, and we just could stay for a minute. And that was my first time, but as a boy at that time. For graduation, she sent me a gold album of her album at that time. It was the I'm Sorry album, and it was gold. It was so wonderful. She sent it to me. I don't have it anymore. Living in Detroit on Jefferson, they broke into my apartment and they took that. Yeah. So that was depressing. But so I went on and just been doing entertainment as Natalie Cole ever since. I started this will be my 35th year performing.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 35 years. I started in 1980.
So do you consider yourself a performer? Are you doing drag? That
word has gotten very popular lately, drag.
Right.
I think that's the worst word for a show. But people relate to drag.
Exactly.
They relate to that.
Queen.
Yeah. So at first I never liked female impersonator.
Right.
Because I never wanted to impersonate a female. I wanted to impersonate.
You as a female.
Right. And do an illusionist of a female, because we could never be a female. You know what I mean?
Right.
Look at you. So it was that thing that I always use female illusionist, but it's female impersonator, drag queen. Now all works, So it doesn't matter. It all is one big old, and I think that it opened a lot of minds, because I have a show that is specifically advertised drag show. So it's cool.
And so how often are you Natalie Cole?
I'm Natalie Cole, like, yeah, a lot. But I'm not complaining. It's fun.
Right.
It's fun. That helps me as Diane continue to go on because it gets me away from Diane. You know, every day is a struggle. It's a struggle. I don't worry about, I'm just so natural out in public, but you never know that one person that may say, wait a minute, something's just not right. Mm-hmm. So, it gets me away from the rat race, you know, and entertaining is fun for me, you know.
So
yeah. Good. Thank you. In the dressing room. Sherry, you've been back in the That's my favorite. That's the favorite part. We may have to videotape the dressing room sometimes. Edit a lot, but we got to do that.
Well, we might get to do that a little later today.
Okay.
But, yeah, I think it's fascinating. Like I said, I met you as Natalie and just love you as Natalie, and I love you as Diane.
Well, thank you. I love you too. Right.
But you have given us the opportunity or the pleasure of being able to watch you transform.
Right.
So we will get to watch Diane change into Natalie today. And I think, again, that's a really great thing because of, you know, the viewers and the people that are not really understanding what this whole thing is and why. And, you know, like you said, you get to escape. Yes.
And it is. It's a wonderful escape, too. It is.
And you're good at it, and it's just like performing. It's like doing a play, or you know,
it becomes second nature. Right? It does. It becomes second nature.
So we appreciate that. So before we go to that, is there anything else you would like to share with the viewers, the audience? Final words of wisdom.
Well, I just think that being a pre-op transsexual woman, I'm so in tune with myself that it has been very easy for the most part. A struggle, of course, life struggles, but it's been very intriguing. For the most part, it's been very good. And I just want to give my advice to people that are planning on doing something like this is to just know who you are as a person first. And then one thing I want to say is to love yourself, love others, and stay humble. You have to stay humble because in this business or being in transsexual, you're going to run across a lot of people, and you just got to stay humble with people because it's a small world. It's a small world. You never know. Going up the ladder, you don't know who you're going to see coming back down. So you just have to stay humble because don't burn bridges behind you. And I just want to say, just stay humble and keep God first.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much for sharing. I know it's not always easy.
Yeah.
And you thought about it for a long time, and you know, we thank you for sharing.
Oh, no problem. It's been my pleasure.
More than one person.
Yes.
And you know, if you get the chance, come out and see Natalie. We will be able to film her and show you the transition, and we'll be able to show you her on stage tonight. We're fortunate to get to do that. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's been wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Preparing to get ready here at the hotel before my show for the Stilettos reunion. Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be great. So I'm just really preparing just a little bit because I left my brushes. So I'm going to finish up at the club. I am just doing a basic, what you call foundation powder and base, and eyeliner, eyebrows, all that stuff.
How long does that transition usually take?
It usually takes me about 35 minutes.
Okay.
I'm one of those people that really don't use a lot of makeup to transform. I just do enough to get my illusion over and on stage. Since I do different characters such as Mary J. Blige and Diana Ross, I change my makeup once I get there to those characters.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're just doing the basic right now. Okay. So if there's anything that you guys want to know, just let me know and I'll tell you.
How long did it take you to learn this process? I'm guessing the first time you did it, it didn't look like it does today.
No. And I'm not, some of the kids now, these younger kids are so intrigued of doing makeup, and they're really good.
Okay.
So I just, like I said, I just do enough just to get me through. When I've done my pageants and all of that stuff, I've had one of the younger entertainers to go with me to do that.
Really?
Yeah, so Deja Van Cartier, she's very good. She's a really good makeup artist here. She's also a performer. And she does my makeup when I want to look the very, very, very best.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And now you have a big stage family. Is that what we were calling?
Yeah, the Coles. I'm very proud of them. They have really carried the name to another level.
And how did that happen? How are they part of your...
Well, we met, and it becomes a bond, and we formed a bond, and it was just and it's quite large. I have a large Cole family.
Okay. Did you mentor them?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And all of my family are not entertainers, though.
Okay.
I have hairdressers. I have just all kind of a different array of kids. It's a big family.
So family's not always what it says on paper. Is
Exactly. Sometimes your what would you say? Adopted family is stronger than your real family sometimes.
Absolutely.
It really does seem like that sometimes.
Well, and I'm sure with your stage family, they understand a lot more of what you go through.
Yes, most definitely. Okay, now since my brushes are in the car, I have to substitute with this brush that Sherry gave me, and this is Real Girl brush.
Do you have a pretty girl brush?
Our brushes are a little bit more firmer than these.
Oh, sure.
But, yeah, they're in the car. And you guys will see, later on when I'll finish my eyes and all of that stuff at the club. So, this helps right here.
And so then you wear different wigs.
Yes.
As you perform.
Yes. I, depending on, what numbers I do and all that, depends on what wig I wear and all that kind of stuff. What I'm doing here, I know you're probably saying, what are you doing? This is like contouring my nose. And so what this does, and see, I don't have my brush, so it looks a little weird now, and I'm going to have to stop until I get, oh my God, yes, I'm going to have to stop. Contouring your nose is it just slims it, Okay. Men's nose a lot of times are different than women's. And African American noses are a little different. So we just kind of slim it a little bit to where the bridge, I've really messed up with that brush of your feminine brush. No, it's fine. But I will finish this nose when I get to the club or to the restaurant. Okay. So, okay. But I can line my lips and stuff. This is it until we get to the bar, and I'll finish. It's crunch time, and we're getting ready for the show, you guys. Yay! I'm putting all this makeup on. Oh, my face feels so heavy. I look like May Jane.
And here we are outside of Rosie O'Grady's with the infamous Natalie Cole.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. This is the Stilettos reunion, and you guys are going to see some awesome footage. I'm your hostess, and we're looking forward to a fantastic evening.